Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The Scratching Post presented by Sastel. I'm your host, Arthur Ward, and we have another great episode for you today. Today, I have a fourth year guard on the women's basketball team, straight out of Winston Knoll, who played in all 20 games this past season. The one, the only, Maddy Seida.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited. Right off the top, I want to just reel it back because we were just doing a mic check. And usually when I do a mic check, I like to ask folks what they had for breakfast. And so, Maddy, why don't you tell me and the audience what you have for breakfast?
Okay. Well, like I said, I have the same thing for breakfast literally every single day. I have a toasted bagel with egg. And the way that I make it is I put the bagel in the toaster, and then I grab a little bowl, and I crack my egg, put it in there, mix it up, throw it in the microwave, actually, which may sound gross, but I promise it's actually good as long as you make sure to pop the yolk before you put it in there. It's a key thing.
Why do you have to pop the yolk?
Because it can explode in the microwave.
It sounds like you're talking from experience.
Yes, and I've done it a few times. I'm not gonna lie. And every time my mom is like sitting in the living room and she hears this big explosion, and is like, what just happened? And unfortunately, I have to respond and say, I just exploded my egg yolk in the microwave.
Okay, so you got to crack the egg in a bowl, stir it up a little. You got to mix it up, blend it up.
Yeah, for sure. And then after you add a little bit of cheese on top, add it onto the bagel after it's done toasting. Boom, it's the perfect breakfast.
So how long do you microwave it for? I think that's an important part.
Oh, yeah, only 45 seconds. And then I add the cheese for another 15 seconds just to make sure it's all melted.
But then you put it on a bagel. Doesn't it fall through the hole? I got to try this.
No, it doesn't. The cheese sticks to the egg, and then it also sticks to the bagel. And it's just like, it's so good. Have you ever been to like the Rocky Mountain Bagel Company in Banff or Canmore?
Best bagel shop ever.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
So they're kind of my inspiration. I had one of those once, and I was like, oh my God, so good. How can I recreate this in a very timely manner at home? And I managed to come up with this, so yeah.
Sounds like you're on your way to open up your own bagel shop.
That would be the dream, actually. That
Really?
would be awesome. I don't know if I'm experienced enough cooking-wise, but this is a start for me.
You know, I feel most people starting their own businesses say the same things. I don't know but they just jump right in it because they love a certain thing, right?
Yeah.
Tell us. We're not talking bagels anymore and eggs. But let's talk a little bit about basketball.
Okay.
You're in your fourth year here at the U of R.
Yes.
You've been a staple on this team for a long time. What was one of your highlights so far in your career?
It's hard to pinpoint it down to an exact moment, so I'm going to go with like kind of more a general broad answer. But I think the highlight for me is the relationships I get to build along the way. I've met so many new people that if I hadn't played basketball, I would have never met. So for example, 2 years ago, Zoe Hartman and Julia played on our team. One is from Prague and the other is from Germany. And I would have never met them had I not played on the Cougars. And to this day, they are still like what I consider to be great friends. I called with Zoe like last week. Julia, it's been a bit longer, but we still like Snapchat. We still stay in touch with each other. And that is just one of the most rewarding experiences that I get to have from being on the Cougars is I build these lifelong friendships and they're carrying over into like the rest of my life. I know a few girls a few years back went on a trip and they got to visit Zoe. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go. But when we went to Greece 2 years ago, Zoe and Julia came and visited us while we were in Greece. So that just shows like how strong those connections are. And it's one of the best parts of being a Cougar for sure.
Speaking about Zoe and Julia, is there anything you learned from them? Anything that
100%.
That maybe what's the one thing that you've kind of learned from them that's helping you in your either your life or in your actual basketball career?
I've talked about this often because they are just very different people, and I'm wondering, like, is it like a cultural thing or what? Like, they're just more blunt and direct as people. And something that Zoe taught me is that, like, having confrontation with another person is not necessarily a bad thing. I think growing up in the way I am, I'm not a super confrontational person. I'm a pretty like bubbly and light like person, but something that I learned from her is that it's okay to confront people. It's okay to have those serious conversations when they need to be had. And yeah, I do carry that with me. I feel like she definitely like broadened my horizons and allowed me to learn from her being so vocal and so like honest with people, and she never did it in a way that was demeaning or rude. She was just blunt and open, and I learned that from her for sure. And even Julia is kind of similar in the same way. So
Yeah, that's interesting to hear you say that.
yeah.
I've had a similar experience. My wife and I lived in New Zealand for a little bit, and they have that same approach, which I feel most Europeans do, or just being direct, very direct to the point. And I think what it teaches you is it really teaches you how to manage conflict and also how to develop a pathway in terms of conflict resolution. Just because two people may not agree on something doesn't mean you have to hate each other. They're just bringing a different perspective to the table. And that's life. We have to manage conflicts every day, manage conflicts internally with your own self, what you're going to eat for breakfast, maybe not in your case, but, trying to manage conflict with other people. And, I think conflict resolution is one skill that I think we can benefit a lot from. So that's interesting. And thanks for sharing that. Uh, Over your 4 years here at the U of R, what was the one moment that challenged you the most?
Again, I'm gonna go with a broader answer if that's okay. I think the like mental aspect of the game is what continues to challenge me the most and has challenged me the most throughout my career here. Um, like I guess I can point out a specific moment I remember in my second year. It wasn't like anything specific triggered it, but I was just not fulfilling my potential, I feel like, as an athlete. And I want to be like a really good shooter, right? So I remember I was just shooting the ball, I think like 20% from the 3-point line, which isn't the greatest. Like if you want to be a really good 3-point shooter, like 35% and higher from the three is the goal.
Okay.
And so I remember I was just not doing that. And it was so hard because I was putting in the work, and I've always put in the work. Like I would go shoot with my dad like every single day, and it was really challenging. And I think it's hard because you have to get up every day and do like the same thing over and over again and just trust that it's going to get better. And that was really hard for me. And it also took learning that, hey, sometimes it's going to be what it's going to be. You just have to trust that if you control the controllables, and do your best, like that is all you can do. And you have to, like, sound silly, but leave it up to fate that whatever is meant to be will be, and it will find you. And that's something I still struggle with. It's hard because I am a bit of a control freak sometimes. I like things to go according to plan.
Okay.
I have my goals in life, and I journal often about like what I want to do, what I don't want to do. And so it's hard when things don't go exactly your way because you have to learn from them and you have to use that and, kind of figure out purpose and why you're experiencing the things you do. And sometimes it's hard to trust that things are going to fall into place.
I feel, thanks for sharing that, Maddie. I feel that's something, a lot of people, struggle with. And I think we get in situations where we want to rush the process. To anyone watching or listening, can you speak about the time it takes to really fully kind of understand how one should overcome any challenges that they're facing? Like, what can you do to help people in a situation like that they feel like they're going up against, and the impossible, to really find some sort of light at the end of the tunnel to kind of keep them in that fight to maybe get where they want to go?
I think it's about understanding your whys. Like, why are you here in the first place? Do you enjoy it? Do you love it? Do you have fun? And sometimes when the fun isn't there, you have to go back to a time to when it was there, or you have to remind yourself of like, why am I really doing this? Like I said, I have met so many amazing people, and I think a big part of my why is that I'm here because I get to have these fun experiences with people and build these relationships. And in those hard moments, you need to kind of remove yourself from the outcomes and the bad things that or maybe you're experiencing, and just focus on those things that you really do love and enjoy about the sport or whatever you're doing in your life, because those are the things at the end of the day that you're going to remember. I talk about this with my dad often. He's like, at the end of the day, like, you don't remember how many points you scored in your first game. You don't remember probably in your last game. I'm not going to remember exactly what happened, right? So he said, but you will remember going on trips. You will remember going to Terrace, BC. You will remember going to Halifax. You'll remember like all of these things, going to Greece. And those are the big part of my why I'm here, and they keep me in it, and they're like the light at the end of the tunnel for me.
How important is your dad in terms of where you are today in your career with basketball?
Oh, he's so important. I feel like I don't even talk to him enough about this, and maybe I should, but he has just played such a tremendous role in my journey as a basketball player, because I honestly think that my dad believes in me more than I truly believe in myself. Like, he believes in me more than anyone on this earth, and he is always there for me no matter what I experience, whether it's school, whether it's basketball. Like, he's my biggest hype man. He's there every single game. Every game after, like, he'll send me a text being like, oh, good game, whatever. Like, he's always there for me to talk about my highs and my lows, and he is my support, and I love him so much. And I should probably text him after this and say, hey, Dad, thank you.
Well, I tell you what, he might be watching this podcast right now. So that camera right there, you could just tell him thanks.
Oh,
look,
yeah.
Look, he's right there. There he is.
Dad, if you're watching this, which I know you will be, I love you so much, and I appreciate everything you've done for me. And I will tell you that more often, I promise. I love you.
I love that. That was awesome. Wonderful. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll step away for a short break, and we'll be right back with Maddy Seida. Don't go anywhere. Don't worry about how much data you use on your phone. Switch to an unlimited data plan from SaskTel and keep doing all the things you need to do without any data overage fees. All right, we are back on the Scratching Post presented by SaskTel, and I'm here with Maddy Seida. 4 years with the Regina Cougars women basketball team, played all 20 games last season, is an amazing guard, and we're going to learn something new about you today, hopefully.
Okay.
Is there anything that we may not know about you that you think would be interesting to share with us?
Well, actually, I feel like something that people might not know about me is that I actually really love learning. Whether it's school, whether it's like random games and stuff, I can tell you about like what I'm doing right now if you want.
Yeah, tell me.
So,
tell
okay, kind of a funny story. I went out and played pool with some of like my friends and teammates a few weeks back.
Okay.
And I was really bad, like really bad. It was probably about a 50% chance that I was going to hit the ball or not. So, okay, maybe that's an exaggeration, but I just wanted to put in perspective how not great I am at pool. And then after that, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I'm learning something new. And so I went home, and I actually have a pool table at home, but it's covered with a ping pong table. Because as a kid, no kid wants to play pool, right? Like, my version of pool was grabbing the cue ball and just chucking it and hoping that something happens.
Okay.
So we covered our pool table with a ping pong table. And yeah, so then I asked my dad if we could take it off, and I started playing pool with my dad. And again, like, I was really bad. I played with my mom too. He was really good, and so I actually leaned more towards playing with my mom because she's more my level. But it's just been a really cool experience, like learning something new and trying, like, learning a new skill is really fulfilling when you're, especially when you're really bad at first.
Yeah.
And I know this is such like a small example, but I really do feel like learning as a person helps you grow into the person that you're meant to be, right? So
Yeah.
it's such a small thing, but I do love learning, whether it is just a game or it's school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just love the opportunity to learn and grow.
That is so cool to know. So who's a better pool player right now? Yourself, your dad, your mom? Who's gonna win a match?
Well, my dad will definitely beat me almost every single time. I've had a few wins against him, but sometimes I only win because he like hits the cue ball in and or like instead of like the 8 ball, or he hits in the wrong pocket or something, you know. So it's kind of like not a real win in my books, but
Have you gone back out to play pool with your friends?
I played pool a few times. I actually played with Rachel.
Okay.
And she's also really good. So they're definitely pushing me to be better
Gotcha.
and to continue to learn and grow.
So, if I can ask, what's the most random thing that you've ever had to learn or teach yourself that you turn out to be like exceptionally well at, to the point where you surprise yourself, like, oh no, I'm good at this? Like,
Okay, I think it's tennis.
tennis. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I recently got a new racket for tennis, and it makes all the difference. Or maybe I'm just kind of good at it. I don't know. But
Maybe.
I went and I played tennis with my dad,
Yeah.
and I like just like threw up the ball to serve it, and I hit it, and I was like, sorry, where did that come from? I don't know.
So it went where it was supposed
Oh,
to.
it was an ace serve.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and my dad was like, whoa, I've never seen you do that before, because we've gone and played a few times, but I don't know what is changing in me. Maybe it's the racket, but like surprisingly, I was really good at tennis and like serving specifically. But yeah, so I actually beat him a few games in tennis.
So, moral of the story: just go out and try things. You may not
Yeah.
know what you're good at.
Yeah, exactly. I actually had a job interview a few weeks ago, and they asked me like, what is something you enjoy? And
Okay.
I thought about it for a second, and I literally was just like, trying something new, learning something new. And then I went on to explain my whole like pool experience, because that's something that I'm currently doing in my life. But I think it's a really cool opportunity to just try new things. Even if you're not super good at it, it's still like a learning opportunity to grow.
That's so good to hear. Maddie, as we get to the end of this show, tell us what you're currently studying in school, and you spoke a little bit earlier about your goals. So let us know, once school's over, where do you see yourself?
Okay, so I'm currently in kinesiology and health studies, majoring in human kinetics, and I really like it. It's been such a cool opportunity, especially now at the end of my degree. I'm getting a lot more like hands-on experiences, which I really love to do, because a lot of school has been like sitting in a class learning theory, and now I'm actually getting to apply all the theory and knowledge that I've gathered throughout my degree. So my kind of goal is I want to apply to occupational therapy, get my master's in that, and I would love to work with kids and be an occupational therapist in the future, specifically working with kids.
Why specifically working with kids?
I just feel like I get along so well. I don't know, maybe it's just the inner child in myself, but like I just feel like my energy, like I can connect more with kids than adults sometimes.
Okay.
And so I just feel like that is the pathway I want to take. I've had a lot of opportunities to work with kids, whether it's like doing basketball camp or working at summer sports school. And in those opportunities, I've learned and I've grown a lot from them, just like learning like what works, what doesn't with kids. And I found it so fulfilling to be able to have those experiences and build relationships with them and see them grow as not just a basketball player, but also a human, over the short amount of time that I get to be with them. So I can't imagine like working as an OT and being able to spend like lots of time with these kids and just helping them
Yeah.
become better people.
I know I know that your teammates speak very highly of you in this regard, and um, they consider you as the mom figure on the team, and partly because you are great with connecting with people and understanding people.
Thank you.
So I think you've got a bright future ahead of you, and keep doing what you're doing, keep learning, keep discovering new talents. And keep going at it with your dad. Who knows? You might have a future as a pro tennis player or pro pool player.
That's what I'm gonna be taking up once I'm done here playing basketball.
There we go. Well, let's close out on that. Basketball, you're coming back for one more year.
Yeah.
What's the one thing you want to improve on before the start of next season as a basketball player?
I'm not gonna say something skill wise because I feel like I practice for that anyways. But something that I've learned this year is that I really can be a leader. I can be the mom of the team, and so something that I really want to commit to next year is just making sure I grow my relationships with everyone and make the rookies feel super welcome coming into our team and just creating a really good team atmosphere and team culture. So it's not necessarily a skill. Maybe it is connecting with people, but just really committing to bringing our team together, planning team events, hanging out with everyone. I think that's a really important thing.
Well, quickly, as we're about to run out of time here, what can rookies expect if they come to Regina and play for the women's basketball team?
I think they can expect we have high standards and we have big goals, so they can expect that for sure. But everyone is super welcoming and super fun. And so I think they can expect to build really great relationships, like I said, that will last the rest of their lives. And hopefully they'll have a really fun time doing it.
What can they expect from you?
Oh, from me?
Yes.
Okay.
You being the vet on the team, the mom figure of the team, going into your fifth year next year, and they're joining a team. What can they expect from you? What are you going to bring to the table?
I'm going to just be there for them no matter what. I'm going to make sure I'm checking in on them. I'm going to see how they're doing. If they need someone to talk to, hopefully I can give them some of my wisdom as now a fifth year player. Yeah. So hopefully they can expect that, and hopefully it's good advice too. Yep. But they can just expect me to be there for them no matter what happens.
Awesome. That's so good to hear. Maddy, thank you so much for sitting down with us on the show. It was so great to have a chat with you and talk about eggs and talk about learning things. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Wonderful. There you have it. Maddy Seida of the women's basketball team here in Regina on the show today. I hope you enjoyed that one. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching wherever you're getting this podcast. Appreciate it. And be sure to come back and check for more episodes. I would be so grateful for that. This is the Scratching Post presented by SaskTel. I'm your host, Arthur Ward, and thanks again for listening. If you want to watch the full length of this episode, be sure to check out our YouTube at Regina Cougars on YouTube. And you can get this episode also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So until next time, take care of yourself and be kind.